Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. It's about time we started giving some bets and selections for Royal Ascot. We're just 4 days away now, recording on Friday night. The 5-day decks are in for the first couple of days, and that's where I'm going to be concentrating on this video. So making some solid selections for days 1 and 2 at Royal Ascot, very much on the proviso that these horses that I speak about are declared at the final declarations and set to run, and that they're a similar price to what they are now. Certainly not back in anti-post at this stage. It's not worth the risk. They might come a hiccup or not run for whatever reason. So these are the horses I will be back in, but once they're declared. Declarations for Tuesday are on Sunday, and declarations for Wednesday are obviously on Monday. So just having a quick run through there. Starting on day 1, the second race of the day, the Coventry Stakes. I'm absolutely all over a horse called Noble Style for Godolphin and Charlie Appleby. He looked a 2-year-old prospect right out of the top draw on his only start earlier in May at Ascot, over 5 furlongs. He swooped past the field in the final furlong, and the form of that race could hardly have worked out any better. He looked visually impressive, but it's been backed up with the form. Warbank, who also might run in the Coventry as well, was second that day at Ascot. That Noble Style won. He won his next start, Warbank, by 7 lengths at York. Third that day was a horse called Redemption Time. He won next time out at Bath, I believe. Fourth that day was Royal Scotsman. He won his next start at Goodwood by 5 lengths. The form could hardly be working out any better. He's 7-2 at the moment, Noble Style. I think he'll be around that price anyway, as and when he's declared, and I will be backing it. The Coventry as a whole looks like a cracker. I've said this on previous videos. You've got Blackbeard in there for Aidan O'Brien. He's unbeaten in 3 starts. Won a Group 3 really quite well last time. I've got nothing against him. I just really do like Noble Style. Persian Force is also in there at a similar price to the first 2 mentioned. He's unbeaten in 2. Richard Hannon's talking him up as one of the best 2-year-olds he's ever had. I don't think he's beaten a lot so far, Persian Force, and I have got a question mark whether he will truly stay the stiff 6 furlongs at Ascot. So the Coventry, on day 1, Noble Style will be hopefully getting us off to a good start. Also on day 2, the St James's Palace Stakes is dominated at the moment, the market dominated by Coroebus. He looked like an absolute tank when winning the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket in the first weekend in May. He's 1-2 to win the St James's Palace. This will be the first time he's racing away from Newmarket, and it will be the first time he's racing round a bend. Both question marks he should be able to answer for sure. He looked a real superstar at Newmarket, and I didn't have a single penny on him, but I was massively impressed. The one I do like, and the one I'll be looking out for in the St James's Palace, is Checkandchallenge. He's 50-1 currently in the win and each way market, but I'll be waiting and concentrating my betting efforts on the without the favourite markets when they become available, probably on Monday afternoon into Monday evening before the big race on Tuesday. Checkandchallenge won the Burradon Stakes at Newcastle, a listed race in April. He barely got off the bridle that day, and yes, it isn't race at Newcastle on the all-weather, but it's provided some good winners, that Burradon Stakes, to be fair. The third that day, behind Checkandchallenge, was Imperial Fighter. He went on to finish third in the Irish 2,000 guineas on his next start. He was also thought good enough to go and contest the French Derby as well. He got nowhere near winning there, but Imperial Fighter's rated 111. Now, Checkandchallenge beat him easily at Newcastle, in my opinion. William Knight on his next start chucked Checkandchallenge in right at the deep end in the Guineas. He went off 50-1. I think he was underestimated in the market that day, and I think that trend will continue. In the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket, he was travelling as well as anything other than Coroebus, the winner. He was travelling as well as anything else in the race, and Danny Tudor was aboard, and I think he was hampered a couple of times when he was asking Checkandchallenge to make maximum effort. I think Checkandchallenge will be underestimated in the market again. I've already said that, and hopefully update the prices in the description when without the favourite markets become available. So Checkandchallenge, I'm keeping a decent eye on him. I do quite really like him. On to the Wednesday. The first race on the Wednesday is a 5 furlong race for 2-year-old fillies, the Queen Mary Stakes. Again, very much on the basis that this filly is declared. I like the look of Carmella, who is currently 33-1. One for David Loughnane. It's not actually an ammo racing one, so again, could go under the radar a little bit for David Loughnane, and he's got a strong team, particularly of 2-year-olds this year at Ascot. This filly Carmella was hampered really badly out of the stalls at York in the Marygate Stakes, a listed race, almost to a standstill. She was bumped right out the gate by another horse, and then she was out the back. caught off her feet a little bit, and she did really well to stay with the pack after such a bad start. And then she was slightly hampered again at the 2-pole when she was trying to quicken. She was pretty much the only horse that day to make any progress from the back in that race, and she was closing on the winners. Sorry, she was closing on the first and second late on, pretty much on the bridle. Carmella then went to Carlisle a fortnight after the York race and beat a well-fancied Kevin Ryan horse there in a decent battling fashion. The Carlisle second is called Cold Case. Now look out for him or her. Sorry, she's racing at York on Saturday, the 11th. So keep an eye out for that form. I do quite like Carmella, and she's won at a bigger price. Again, after she's declared, we'll be keeping an eye out for that. The feature on the Wednesday is the Prince of Wales stake over 10 furlong. This is unoriginal, but I have just put up a 33 to 1 shot, so I'm not biased when it comes to putting up prices, big or small. Baybridge, I just think he wins the Prince of Wales stakes. I just really do. He's 11 to 10 now. I can see him going off odds on. He was mega impressive at Sandown. Probably the most impressive performance I've seen this season, and that's saying some when we've got the likes of Coroebus and Desert Crown winning well. But Baybridge slammed a decent enough Group 3 field at Sandown by 5 lengths. It looked like there was plenty more to come. The vibes, typical vibes from the Michael Stout yard saying, he's not going to be 100%. Well, if that's not at 100%, you feel what he might be able to do when he is 100%. I can't see any of the opposition getting close to him, to be honest with you. He's a really exciting horse for not only Royal Ascot for the season. I can't claim to know a lot about the Japanese form, and Shiraya is decent in the form book. But if you look closely at Shiraya's form book, he clearly suggests that he's better over further. This is a 10 furlong race. He's been doing all his best ratings, RPRs, etc. have been over 12 furlongs, and he's going to be over 10 furlongs here. Is he going to have enough speed? Not sure. Obviously, that the race he won in Maidan, the Shima Classic, was over a mile and a half. Some good horses in behind. Pile Driver, Hookums, won a Group 1, etc. I can't argue too much with that, but I just think Baybridge is special, and I think he will prove that next week. The big handicap on the Wednesday is the Hunt Cup, one of my favourite races of the year. There's currently 72 entered in the Hunt Cup and a max field of 30, so it is difficult to be nailing your colours to any one horse at this stage, and you certainly would not be backing anti-post. I mean, a lot of them are going to get balloted out and you get your money back, to be fair. More solid selections will come after the final decks. I'll probably have 2 goes, given there's 30 runners. I normally have one of a high draw and one of a low draw. At this stage, I've got my eye on Etonian. Now, regular viewers will be screaming at the screen now saying he's a bit of a cliff horse for me. They're probably right. I once backed Etonian on debut and he won for me at 40 to 1. So he doesn't owe me anything personally. He's 33 to 1 for this Hunt Cup. You'll get some fancy place terms on the day, possibly 7 places, so definitely wait for that. I can actually see Etonian being tipped up by one of the major tipsters, Hugh Taylor, Tony Calvin, whatever it may be. He's got that type of profile that's attractive to a punter, really, and a tipster. He was an easy Group 3 winner as a 2-year-old, ran in a Group 1, failed thereafter. His 3-year-on campaign was a write-off. He just had the 1 start at Sandown, got nowhere near winning. But he returned as a 4-year-old Etonian this year at Newbury in the Spring Cup. A very competitive handicap. He was chucked straight in there. He ran nothing more than okay for me, but his trainer, who is sometimes a bit liberal with the way he talks up his horses, which is fair enough, Richard Hannon, he's on record in saying, and I quote, he will come on a stone for that run. He badly needed the Spring Cup run at Newbury, and he will apparently come on a stone for that. Whether he's right or not, we're going to find out, hopefully next Wednesday. Etonian, after that Spring Cup run, inexplicably, really, ran in the Group 1 Lockinge against Baid. He had absolutely no chance of winning. He was 150 to 1, and he finished last. Do we know what to make of that? Had he come on for that stone? Don't know. He was basically eased down at the end. He shouldn't have even been running in that race, but the owners obviously wanted a day out. But, importantly, the handicapper has dropped Etonian £3 for that run in the Lockinge, and he's already down £2 for his encouraging, okay run at Newbury before that in the Spring Cup. So he's already down £5 already this year. He's now off 100. I think he's a better horse than 100. He's going to have to be competitive in such a race like the Hunt Cup. But, if the trainer is to be believed, and it's a reasonably big if, as I've said, he'll have a chance here, and He could be a group horse in a handicap. You basically have to be to win the Hunt Cup anyway. Let's be honest. I'll be on him as soon as he's declared at a big price because, like I say, I can see someone tipping him up. So even if it's just a small each way on a Tony and at 33, 25 to 1, 6 or 7 places, that'll be the kind of way we're going. Again, it'll be in the description. The final one I'm looking at on day 2 is the Windsor Castle Stakes over 5 furlongs, a listed race, so not as high quality as the likes of the Norfolk or the Coventry, and sometimes you get male and female horses running in the Windsor Castle, but mainly the males. A load of these are double entered, so wait for the decks. A load of them have got options in the different races. The Windsor Castle and Norfolk are very similar races. They're both over 5 furlongs. One's a Group 3 and one's a listed race, so very, very similar races. The one I'm keeping my eye on, who's only entered in one of those races, and it's this one, the Windsor Castle, is Maymar for Michael O'Callaghan. He's a trainer that punches above his weight, the Irishman. Last year he had Twilight Sun, who might actually have a chance in the Commonwealth Cup later in the week, but we'll come on to that in another video. But yeah, Michael O'Callaghan's got this Maymar. He was on the Nick Luck podcast on Friday the 10th saying, and I quote, he had a big chance, this Maymar. He was second on debut behind a race fit, the Antarctic, for Aidan O'Brien. Didn't get beat far, I think it was a length and a half. Well, the Antarctic, he's going to be favourite for the Norfolk. So, you know, that's decent enough form on debut. Then he was, on his second start, he was third behind Blackbeard in that Group 3 when not staying the trip, Maymar. I think he was last of 4, but he wasn't too far behind the bunch. Blackbeard had gone and second, third and fourth were pretty close when finishing together. And then on his most recent start, Maymar, he was dropped back to 5 furlongs, which is the trip he needs, and he was a decent second. He gave £7 away to the winner. He gave £9 away to the third, shaped with a decent amount of promise, and he looks like the Windsor Castle might suit him because it's a stiff 5 furlongs at Ascot, so it's probably effectively a 5.5 furlong race, and that looks perfect for this Maymar. He doesn't have a 1 next to his name, so he's not got that sexy profile. He's not won a race yet in 3 starts. He's ran 3 good starts. I think he might be a nice each way price about him. Again, wait for the sexy each way terms. He might be 20, 25 to 1. So they're the ones I've got my eye on for days 1 and 2. I'll be putting those in the description, and then obviously when the decks come out and the races take shape, there'll certainly be a hell of a lot more bets being placed, and I'll put them on Twitter or whatever it may be. So thanks for tuning in to this stage. Last year we did a live. Me and Pieman did a live every night of Royal Ascot. We won't be doing that this year. We're both significantly busier than we were during the back end of lockdown last year. But yeah, there'll be plenty of content to come. Keep an eye on the Twitter as well, and we'll be putting selections up. And let me know in the description below if you like what you like, or if you agree or disagree with me. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with more Royal Ascot content.